Welcome to episode 83 of the Steady On podcast, Too Much Christmas, with me, Angie Bauman, and my guest and ministry friend, Tiffany Jo Baker. The Bible verse I selected for this episode with Tiffany Jo is Luke 2:19. I'm going to read it from the NIV. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The Greek word for pondered means to combine, to mix together. There's so much going on during the Christmas season. The mix of emotions swirls for many of us. I imagine Mary felt that way too, like it was just a lot, like maybe it was just too much. Some of it really hard, some of it incredibly awesome, and she pondered all that. She allowed it to mix together. I hope this conversation with Tiffany Jo helps you ponder your Christmas too. Let's listen in. Hello, Steady On community, and welcome to this conversation. I'm Angie Bauman, and with me today is my ministry friend, Tiffany Jo Baker. Tiffany, welcome back to the Steady On community.
Angie, I'm so thrilled to be here.
We are going to be talking about Christmas. Tiffany is a speaker, a coach, a blogger, a vodcaster of all the things. She is a three-time surrogate and also author of a small but powerful, which are also words I would use just to describe you, my friend, small and powerful. But she is the author of a small but powerful devotional called Soul Care for Go-Getters. And I have invited Tiffany back to talk to us about what I'm simply calling too much Christmas, because I think, Tiffany, that sometimes in all of this, and this episode is going to actually be dropping Christmas week. And so we are a couple of days from the big day. And yet I think we're probably not a couple of days from just feeling like, oh man, this, we've had some moments in the last few weeks where this has all just been too much. So will you talk to us a little bit about what's Christmas like for you? You are a go-getter. I know this about you. Is Christmas something you look forward to, dread, plan ahead for, put off? What kind of relationship do you have with Christmas?
Probably all of the above.
Amen.
So I really look forward to the time off of my regular schedule and the to-dos and the time with my family, but I do not look forward to the busyness.
Yeah.
Of what it can really end up being. And let me just share a confession. And I know there's going to be some gasps from the listeners, like, I can't believe her. There have actually been a couple Christmases where I haven't even put up a Christmas tree.
Talk to me about that.
Right?
Like what? Because you decided early not to, because it got away from you, because it was too much. Why?
It was too much.
Too much. Okay.
We tend to always go to my parents' house for Christmas in another state. Mm-hmm. So we're not there on the day. We're not there on the week. And if I find myself where there's just too much and I'm overloaded, I have to really focus and prioritize what really matters. And this is just going to steal my peace for the season of, having my husband get all the things out of the attic, putting it up, cleaning it up, putting it away, keeping the dog out of it, all the thing. And then, just get to the point of what really matters. Is it the Christmas tree? Or is it the time that we get to spend with our family? Or is it the real reason of the season?
I so appreciate you confessing that right off the bat, because I think it gives, what is the permission slip we need to give ourselves, And again, as this episode is dropping right at Christmas, maybe there are some things we can do looking at what has just happened to us over the past few weeks and say, I'm writing myself a permission slip today for next year, right? Like I am doing it today. I'm almost like the opposite of what you're just saying, not quite the opposite, but several years ago, maybe like 5 or so now, I decided the only thing I care about is the tree. Like I don't decorate anything else. Yes. We have other things that I could get out that I don't. I love having the tree, and we put it up really early. Usually my husband's off on Veterans Day, and seriously, we put it up that early. Yes. Because I love it. I want it up. I love looking at it. It brings joy and peace to me, but I don't love dealing with, and Matt's here, my husband, and he helps me take it, put it up. And then he's off because he works as administrator at our university here, and they're closed Christmas to New Year. And so he's always here and helps take it down. And so I don't have that stress, that you're talking about. And it
yes.
actually is. I love sitting with my hot tea, listening to Christmas music in my earbuds, doing my, like, it's really, it brings me a lot of joy and peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of that time.
Yes. Yes. But I don't want to do the other things that you're talking. I don't want to decorate anything else, and I'll make a confession too. On Christmas Eve, our kids, we do stocking presents. I don't even own stockings. We stopped actually stuffing stockings years ago. I get these little like presents, and things. And I usually have some kind of like Walmart sack or something because it got to be too stressful to try to buy things that were less, little bit less expensive and would fit in no.
Yep.
So we don't even have any stockings, but we do stocking presents because that's what works for us. So
yeah,
I hear a common theme in that is that through the years and being in some Christmas seasons that were just too much for us, we made some choices about what to hang on to and what to let go of. Yeah. And
I love that you called it a permission slip, giving us the permission slip to do that.
So why do you think what leads to the overwhelm for us, do you think? I think a lot of people would use the word overwhelming to describe this season of the year. What's that about for you? Maybe what are some thoughts about what it is for most of us?
I think it comes down to expectations, unrealistic expectations. I think we get those from maybe how our parents did Christmas, maybe the expectations of what we see on the Hobby Lobby commercials on what Christmas is going to be, or the Christmas cards that come out and you see those staged, perfect photography family pictures versus the selfie, the last minute that we might get to do. I think it's those expectations we put on ourselves to make Christmas something big. It's been so commercialized where it's this big thing, and it is this big thing, but not because of the way we've made it become this big thing. So I think as I was thinking about even my process with not having a Christmas tree up, it's like, how did I get to that place that I could help share, to give someone else? And it's really interesting. I think the first one, and there are 3 P's. The first one was I predetermined. As a family, we predetermined what matters most to us during this Christmas season. And I think it's even something that could be as simple as a informal family meeting where we just say, hey, y'all, we have a lot going on right now. What do you love most about Christmas? Like, what matters? If you could just say, what is one thing you want to have or do during the Christmas break, and give each family member a moment to share that. And then that's what you hold on. That's what you do, is those important things that really matter. So I think predetermining what the season will look like for you. The second P, funny enough, is giving yourself permission. Permission to not do all the things you've always done. Permission to not do all the things you wish you could do or would do. And we talked a little bit about that. And the third P is to plan. Plan for those big things that might take our energy draining for you. Like for me, even last Thanksgiving, we gave ourselves permission to not use good china. And we got nice bamboo, throwaway, recyclable. So it's like, how can you plan to still have those moments without the extra stress of it? Maybe it's catering for the first time. So those 3 Ps, I think, really have put us in a position to know what matters most, walk that out during any season, a busy season. And that's predetermine what matters most, give yourself permission to let go and not do everything, and then plan for those big things that you do want to do.
Can I ask about your family when you've had like maybe these informal family meetings? Have you been surprised at all about what your children and your husband have said? Like, this is what's the most important thing to me.
Yes.
Would you share any of that? Like, what did you discover?
And most of the time, it's those unstaged moments.
Talk to me.
It's the moments where we're just having hot chocolate and going to see Christmas lights. It's the moments when we're laughing and watching a movie. It's not the big things that we think it is. It's the memories and the moments that really matter. It's the togetherness.
Our family on Christmas Eve, also, along with our unstocking presents, we always watch an old Disney movie called Snowball Express. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie at all. Okay, so that's what we watch on Christmas Eve. And my boys you would act like I was asking them to donate a kidney because it's just, oh, mom, we're not going to watch that. And yet they're like throughout the day, are we going to watch that? When are we going to watch that? Because it has created something in our family. There's just this little tradition, around it that reminds us that in all of the craziness that maybe we've been through, when it comes to it, we're actually going to settle and be together and enjoy a movie that just brings back fun memories. And we always laugh. And yeah, so it is those things, I think. And it's so easy to lose track of that as we're, I don't do these either, but as we're addressing Christmas cards, or as we're, planning the party or whatever that we didn't want to plan, or, whatever those things, we can get caught up in that. And so what about the woman who's listening and feels like, yeah, that's all good, ladies, but it's over this year. I've done it wrong and I'm like overwhelmed and it just feels bad right now. I don't know. What can we say to her today to say, how can we turn this around?
I think one of my favorite verses, and I use this all the time in parenting, because we have those moments where it's just like, I messed up. I was loud, or whatever it is. His mercies are new every morning. And so just remembering that every day is a new day. And our mindset can shift every day. What we're striving for can change each day. And so I think knowing that we get to start over fresh is just so, I don't know, so peace bringing for me. It removes that weight on my shoulder, that once I make a decision, I have to keep doing it. It's like, no, you don't. Yeah. You can stop anytime you choose to.
I'm absorbing that, because I know I do that. Once I've made a decision, I feel like I've made a commitment. And I think that if I don't follow through with it, even if it's just a commitment to myself, and certainly if it's a commitment that I've said out loud, then I'm a failure. I started down this path. And so I have to continue down this path. And I appreciate that. No, you don't. Give yourself permission to change your mind. This isn't what I thought it would be. It's not bringing the joy I thought it might. I said yes when I should have said no. And I just need to own that now, whatever the case may be. Right.
Yes. And I think having the conversations too with our family and just said, we're in the middle of this. It's a lot right now. And just having those honest conversations and seeing where everyone else is, because our striving affects our children and our husbands and our family and the atmosphere of our homes. And so I think it's important for us to show that vulnerability and to show that, you know what, I'm sorry, or I can't, show the humanness part of us too, instead of this superwoman cape wearing facade that we sometimes like to put on, that we're all human and we're in the midst of some big things in our world.
Yes.
And so this Christmas, it's okay to not look like other Christmases.
I love that. Yeah. And I think it's true, even though our kids, for those of us who have kids, not all of us do, our families, our friends, whoever it is that's putting expectations on you, or you think is putting expectations on you, or you think you have to be something in order to please them, however, whatever that's looking like in your life. I think I believe this. I know it's true. And I think I believe it. Can I just say it like that? Even though they would enjoy whatever it is we think we have to do for them, mostly they want our joy. They want us. They want us to be at peace, right? Like really, like our kids, they want things. I mean, my kids, they want things, but they want me.
Yeah.
They want me to be in a place where I can serve them and love them more than they want the things, really. And so I think that goes back to your concept of soul care. So how do we do that so that we can love our people with our things, our gifts, our hospitality, whatever that looks like, but also love them with our us, right? Because that comes from taking care of that, right?
Yes. Oh, I loved what you said, that our family loves the joy that things bring, but even more, they love the joy when we have joy and we're able to share that with others. I think that's so powerful, what you just said.
Because our attitude is so contagious, is it not?
Yes.
They feel our stress.
Yes. We set the atmosphere for our home. We really do.
Yeah.
It's an important role we play.
So for the one who feels like maybe she's lost her joy in all of this, or I don't know, just feels like I remember one Christmas, My kids were really little. I had had some health problems. And so my shopping was sort of behind on my timetable.
Mhm.
A friend of mine stopped by sort of unexpectedly. My house was chaos, which it isn't usually because I'm a perfectionist. And so I keep things in a certain, but I was late, in my own mind, I was behind schedule. I was a mess. My kids were little. They needed me. I couldn't, my energy was so much lower than I wanted because I was experiencing some health problems. I'm getting emotional just saying this because I can remember it was several years ago. And she came by and I opened the door and I just sat down on the couch and just like, I almost didn't have the energy to cry. Like I'm like, I can't do it all. I cannot do it all. And she maybe not very helpfully was like, do you think you need some medicine? I'm like, no, I don't think I need some. I mean, I might have, I don't know, but I'm like, but what I needed was that I needed soul care. I needed rain upon my soul. How do we do that, Tiffany? Wherever we find ourselves, how do we let the Lord rain on our souls?
Yeah. One of my favorite verses is Matthew 11:28 and 29. And it says, are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. And I think even here, if we could have permission to burn out religion, they're talking about all the expectations, all the standards, all the traditions that people put on religion / Christmas versus the relationship with just being with the Lord. And he is the ultimate soul uplifter. He's the lifter of our head. He's the filler of our soul. Our soul is our mind, our will, and emotions. And so when we're spending time with him, when we're with him, we can have the mind of Christ because it's being renewed with him. We can know what decisions to make, our will, because we've walked with him and we hear his voice leading us. And our emotions can be healthy because we've grieved with him, we've lamented with him, we've found our joy, for in his presence is fullness of joy. So I think in all of this, in the seasons and the overwhelm and the go-getting and the striving, it's finding those moments of rest with him, because really nothing else matters at the end of the day. Nothing else matters. And if it does, we're going to mess it up because we're going to be in the wrong state of mind, making the wrong decisions, doing all the things because we're operating in our own strength instead of his strength. Yeah.
Is there anything that you do either at Christmas when it feels overwhelming or other times that it feels overwhelming that just works for you? Is there something practical maybe that you could share with us too about this is something that that has helped me feel the presence of Christ when I knew that I was sort of thirsty for it?
I have just a simple routine that I do every morning. And if I don't, I can tell.
Yeah.
And so I get up and I listen to something on YouTube, a preacher, as I'm walking the dogs. And then I have a little mini bike. I'm on the mini bike as I pray a prayer that I have written down. And then I read a chapter in the Bible. And it takes all of 30 minutes, maybe. But in the meantime, I'm also working out. I'm also walking the dogs. And I'm also praying. So it's finding what works for you in your routine. And, people connect with the Lord different ways. Like my husband connects with them out on recreational properties, being in the great outdoors. Yeah. I connect through worship and the word. And so I think it's finding how you connect and how it works with your lifestyle and just doing that. I mean, the easiest thing for you to do is the thing that you will do. Yeah. So it's finding that thing that you will do.
Say that again. The
easiest thing that you can do is the thing that you can do or will do.
Yeah. Because different seasons of our life too are so different. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember one Christmas several years back when I was going through a difficult separation from a family member that I needed emotional separation from, but I had tried to make that relationship work for so long. See, this will make me emotional too. I had tried for so long. And it's like at Christmas time, the Lord really just opened my heart to the season of Advent and the season of waiting and the season of like expectation. Like it's been a long haul with this, like as you've wrestled with this. But something beautiful is being birthed, kind of, if you will, like your ability to know your worth outside of the approval of this relationship. It was just messy, it was messy. And I remember morning after morning, I would sit before my Christmas tree with my hot tea and I would listen. My favorite Christmas song is O Come, Emmanuel. And it's such a promise of hope. There's, it's just such a promise of God's goodness and his coming and his caring about the struggle, and there's a version by Christy Nockels that I just like, I would sit and weep, and morning after morning, it was just like this goodness of God. And it was, it wasn't a very long time often, but I would go to it every day for just a few minutes. And it would remind me of just his promise over that season, because a lot of us wrestle with sometimes Christmas isn't actually the thing that's making us feel overwhelmed and crazy. It's the say this better than I can. Maybe it's like Christmas accentuates what's already hard somehow. Right.
Yes.
If you deal with family tension all year, it seems accentuated at Christmas. If you deal with not being able to have children, it's accentuated at Christmas. If you're a divorced blended family and that's kind of hard, it's accentuated. And so, and that hurt for me that year was just really accentuated at Christmas time. And so, can you find something like that? Even as you recover, because let's talk about that for just a second. What can we do? Maybe some of us, like you, like me, like we have maybe a slower week coming up, between Christmas and New Year's, maybe, I hope, but, what maybe a balm for the weary, maybe, anything different that you might suggest for us?
Well, I first love the thought that Christmas is not just Christmas, it's preparing us for the new year and how we want to walk into that new year. So it's deciding, I think we could go right back to those 3 points.
Hit them again.
Determine how you want to walk into that new year. What do you want to walk in frazzled and overwhelmed and done already? Or do you want to walk in with peace and purpose and a plan for how this year is going to be different, or how this year is going to continue, or wherever that space is that you are. So I think we predetermine how we want to walk into the new year. And then we give ourselves permission for it to look different, to let go, to hold on, to launch, whatever it might be. Give ourselves permission for that new year. And then plan. I think it's so important that we do have that cushion in between Christmas and New Year's. Most of us have time off from work. Most of us have pockets of time with family or without family that we can choose how we want to use that pocket of time. And I think that's important to set us up for soul success for the new year and using it well.
It's not so far gone, it can't be redeemed. Nothing is, That's so right. Even if you wish your Christmas season had gone differently, I love what you just said. Like, it's okay today. Let's make a different decision today and take that to the Lord and say, help me look at maybe why I did some of the things I did and how we can move forward and not do that. I mean, not just next year. We don't have to wait till next year. We can make different decisions today. So that's so good. Yeah. And you've shared a couple of verses with us. Is there any other Bible verse or Bible story that's just dear to you during this season of the year?
I'm going to do a Christmas carol. How about that?
Yes, I love it.
Joy to the world. I was looking at the lyrics. It says, joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. And this is the one. Let every heart prepare him room. And I think that's the focus of where we need to be at Christmas, at New Year's, at Easter, summer, throughout the year. It's let every heart prepare him room. Yeah. And so figuring out how that works for each one of us is different, and it's important, and it's fun and adventure, and it's a process. But I think that's the heart of God, for us to find that space that we prepare him room in our heart. Yeah. And that can be as simple as 5 minutes in your bathroom, closing the door, closing your eyes, and just being still. Yeah. Yeah. You're preparing a space for him to love you, to hold you, to speak to you, to fill you, to forgive you, whatever it is, but holding a space for him.
And that's the way that we're able to come being with the joy and the peace that our people need. That's the way. Yes. I have tried a lot of other things and I've not found anything else. That's the only way. Yeah. And sometimes it's the very hard thing of saying what's not going to happen then in order to make this time to prepare room in my heart. Cause my heart is full of all kinds of things. My brain is, my actions are full of all kinds of things. And in order to really have a heart that it has prepared room for him or is preparing him room, sometimes that means saying no to some other things like unstockings and not putting up a Christmas tree or whatever it is. Like, this is how I prepare him room. Yeah. That's beautiful, Tiffany. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, anything else on your mind about any that you want to encourage the listener with that I didn't ask you?
No, I would say I love Isaiah 9:6, where it just talks about our coming King, our coming Jesus, where it talks about he's the wonderful counselor, mighty God, and Prince of Peace.
Prince of Peace. He wants to be that for us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just my prayer for everyone listening for the season, for today, for tomorrow, for the new year, that the Prince of Peace, and in the word just talks about his peace that surpasses all understanding. I pray that it would just guard your heart and guard your mind as you walk out all that God's called and created you to do.
I love that. Thank you so much. Help me share some resources. I love to do this before I let my guests go. Let us peek into the life of Tiffany Jo. What is on your nightstand or in your earbuds or anything you're listening to, reading that's just bringing you joy and peace right now?
I recently found a new podcast that's quickly become one of my favorite. I shout it from the rooftops. It's called The Place We Find Ourselves.
Okay.
And it's by Adam Young. He's a Christian therapist, but it's all about trauma and our stories and God's healing. And it is powerful.
Okay.
It is powerful.
Good. That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you for being here again. And again, Tiffany Jo's book is a 31-day devotional soul care for go-getters, refresh and refocus in 5 minutes a day. And she can be found at tiffanyjobaker.com. And I will link all that good stuff in the show notes. And I cherish you, my friend. Thank you so much for having this conversation and teaching and serving us today.
Thank you. I always love our time together.
And thank you for listening. Until next time, peace. A huge thank you to Tiffany Jo Baker for stopping in with a little Christmas cheer and a whole lot of encouragement. Wherever you are in your relationship with Christmas this year or any year, I do hope you are able to make room for the hopeful, persistent presence of God to mix in with your life pressures and responsibilities. Luke 2:19, this time from the Passion Translation. But Mary treasured all these things in her heart and often pondered what they meant. Merry Christmas, my friend. If you'd like to support the ministry of Steady On, there are 3 things you can do, and all of them are free. First, you can subscribe to the podcast. That helps a ton. Second, you can rate and review the podcast because that helps other people find us. And lastly, you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter by visiting the website livesteadyon.com and clicking the orange newsletter button at the top. The link for that is also in today's show notes. I always welcome comments and feedback. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime by emailing steadyonpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. I pray wherever your day takes you, you are walking in the confident knowledge that you are a beloved, cherished child of God. Peace.